the man we need at a time like this. He's one of the funniest guys in the whole world with a great new stand-up comedy special called Drop Dead Years. It premieres March 14th on Hulu. Please welcome Bill Burr.
It's eerie and fascinating to watch a once talented and fierce man slowly drown in the whirlpool of emptiness. January 15, 2025, Bill Burr appears on Jimmy Kimmel's show to promote his new Hulu special, Drop Dead Years. Kimmel immediately asks him about the evacuation of his property during the California wildfires. Burr gives a brief, vague response, then clumsily pivots into a bitter rant about people on the internet.
I'm gonna make a run for that helicopter?
I feel lucky.
Are you guys back in?
And I think everybody did a great job.
Yeah.
Unlike the internet, you know?
Yeah, right, I know, it's right.
Oh my God, all of these fire experts. Why didn't you just fly a helicopter into the ocean? And then just, I don't know, because there was 100-knot winds? You want to do that? You want to do that at night, you lunatic?
How are you?
This was definitely mismanaged.
That's a big word we're hearing now.
Mismanaged, like some idiot on the internet knows how to manage the worst fire in LA, sitting there in his underwear.
Why does he care so much about online nobodies, offering advice or criticism on things they barely understand? People were doing it long before the internet era. This isn't some keen cultural observation. It is spite. Spite of a self-made millionaire who fled his California villa on a private helicopter, lashing out at the minor disturbances that unsettle his fragile sense of control. Later he admits to Kimmel that it's not the large, uncontrollable events that bother him. It's the little things, like burnt toast, that truly makes him feel powerless.
Big stuff happens. I get ridiculously calm. My Achilles heel is little things. So, like, if the house was going to be on fire, I would just be like, well, you know, kind of be cool to not own anything. But, like, little things I flip out at. Like, you know, if I go to make toast and then all of a sudden it burns, I'm like, who the is changing the settings? And what I realized, I just realized this backstage is what it is I learned as a kid when big things are happening, keep your mouth shut or the big thing comes at you. And then I flip out over the little things because I'm emoting about that in this, so...
And this is where Dropping Dead emerges as an extreme expression of losing control, the root of his fear, not death itself, but life, in an unpredictable and hostile world where he cannot even guarantee that he will be alive in the next moment. This fear dictates everything he does.
Would you explain what the title means?
Oh, Drop Dead Years. It's the age I'm at. I'm 56 years old, which is too young to die of natural causes, but it's not too young to drop dead. Like, I know, which is weird, but...
Whoa, 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 look at his hands. He's visibly shaking.
In the special, I say how dropping dead is like a uniquely male experience. Like, you don't see women, like, you know, just grabbing their hearts at brunch and face planting into whatever the hell they eat at brunch. Well, but men all the time, you know, just dropping out of golf carts.
Alright, let's keep in mind the way he illustrated this all. Grabbing their hearts at brunch, a face planting into a plate, dropping out of their golf carts. February 25, a notorious hate-filled rant against Elon Musk.
I'll tell you what's funny. I made fun of the Twitter guy for Sieg Heiling not once but twice, and I never look at my emails. I was scrolling through my emails, and it said my Twitter account had been flagged. What a baby. Just like Hitler. A baby. Because that's another thing. All of these people that are into Hitler, you know what I mean? And like look at this guy like he was some sort of hero. The guy was one of the biggest cowards ever.
Let's address the elephant in the room. It was an unhinged, poorly constructed tirade, swearing every other word, bizarre comparisons of Musk to Adolf H., an entire polemic based on some imaginary group that sees Adolf as a hero. I will set aside a simple fact that this unfortunate gesture of Elon had nothing to do with glorifying the diabolic Führer, and people of certain political allegiance simply attempt to milk this controversy for all it was worth. But let's shelve that for now and just assess the quality of speech. This is a guy who writes for living.
How about the fact that the Twitter guy he's not even from here. He's from South Africa. He comes to this country and wants to turn it into a dictatorship. He doesn't feel that we deserve democracy. Can you just imagine doing that? Going to another country and just deciding, yeah, you know what? I'm going to change a government because I've decided. Laminated face cunt. Now what are you going to do? Reflag my account?
That's not funny. This is just a sub-high school level insult. And Barr's argument that Musk isn't a real American. The man has lived in the United States for over 30 years, built all his businesses here, and has been a citizen for more than 2 decades. Why wouldn't he care about America's prosperity as much as any other citizen? Would Barr make the same accusations about someone of Hispanic, Arabic, or African descent? Or is it only safe to say this about Musk? On the surface, this rant seems like chaotic improv. It's not. It was scripted, and badly on purpose. You'll see why soon. March 14. Drop Dead Years premieres. Barr appears on The Breakfast Club. He claims he's afraid of not having enough time to raise his kids, then recycles the same golf cart face down anecdote from Kimmel. The odd thing, he vehemently insists that 56 is old. Even the co-host pushes back, pointing out how absurd that sounds.
By the way, Bill, you're 56. You are not in your drop dead years, man.
Yeah, don't say that.
Cut it out.
Well, yeah.
Nah.
No, people yeah, I've had friends drop dead. I'm an old dad, so that was sort of the, you get to be 56, gonna be 57, you start thinking of those things. No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
57 times 2 is 114. That's not young.
How old are
People
you?
are like, oh, you're middle age. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm 56, I'll be 57. So yeah, that's old. Dropping dead is you're out on a golf course, just limbering up doing this and then just face plant. It's just being 56 is that a crazy thing to think that 56 is kind of old?
I think so. Because the way that I think because you say 56 and you talk about all of the kind of like the up the hill battle stuff. Like it's just you wake up every day and you look fine.
She's 33, bro.
That's how you make it seem. You make it feel like you feel old. Like so, I'm like, dang,
We're ancient
what's
to her.
happening with your kids?
All right, listen, I'll call Hulu. I will rename the special. I'll see what I can do.
Barr's reaction? Ironic deflection, reducing the argument to absurdity, classic manipulation technique. Because Barr is not interested in honest introspection. If he were, he would have to admit that 56 is not drop dead age, that his entire persona is a thinly veiled mask for a much deeper fear of different genesis.
The people online said Bill Burr is absolutely cooking. He don't realize he's going to lead a revolution and then make jokes and complain about it. So they want you to tell them what to do.
Yeah, that's one comment.
There's a multiple.
That's one
It's like if you go down this, they was was giving it up for you this morning.
If you are in this business, the last thing you want to do is read comments.
That's an interesting move. Minimization with a subtle ironic tone. But it tells a lot. Bill Barr hates responsibility. In fact, he hates it so much that he often defers it to God, to fate, anywhere but himself.
God makes
created.
sociopaths.
Yeah.
He makes horrible people. Also, but for some reason with religion, that's not God's responsibility. And then these horrible people do horrible shit. I believe in God, but I don't necessarily believe in a loving God. He created all the animals too. The fact that there's just animals out there that their whole purpose is to be food. Explain bears. Why would you make something like that?
He doesn't want to guide or challenge anyone because that would mean engaging with life. With raw, unpredictable interactions. Come on. The man doesn't even have the guts to read his own comment sections.
In the opening of your special, when you're walking on stage, you talk about how comedy is kind of like your safe space or whatever because
I never said safe space.
It's my summation of it.
You're woke.
Yeah,
You are woke.
This is like my
you are so woke.
safe space.
You are so woke, Bill.
I was surprised.
Guys.
What did you say? Because whatever it was, I was surprised to hear you say it because you said something about you didn't know how much you wanted people to like you.
Oh, yeah, I thought I did.
And I was confused. I'm like, really?
Priceless. By the way, we owe a round of applause to this lady. Jazz hilarious. She's extremely smart and consistently calls out Barr's crap. Her safe space remark, a silver needle popping the balloon, and Barr's emotional reaction makes perfect sense. She exposed his game. Bill Barr is seeking a comfort zone. He actually admitted it indirectly a tad earlier.
When it comes to comedy, though, are you trying to provide an escape for people, or do you feel like you have to use comedy to make sense of the world that we live in?
Definitely an escape.
Okay.
I'm big on that. Like, my job is when you come, I'm going to make you laugh. I don't put any sort of importance on anything that I'm doing, but other people try.
This escapist attempt to distance from reality leads to a chamber with very rigid rules. Suddenly there are words you cannot use. Suddenly self-deprecating commentary appears. A masochistic tactic Burr employs to diffuse antagonism and secure his position within certain audiences.
I thought I did stand-up because I liked comedy. That's what I thought, but I didn't. Through taking mushrooms and figuring myself out, I realized that the reason why I did comedy, aside from I liked making people laugh and that's how I connected with them, it was in this way to go on stage and make a room full of strangers like you so they wouldn't hurt you.
Yeah. And
that was kind of like,
That's so crazy. I just was surprised to hear you say that, because this other stuff you say, I'm like, people are going to dislike you for that, but you still say it.
Right. If you are truly unafraid of controversy, critique, or even hate sometimes, you say what you think, and you stand on it. But if you are afraid, you build walls. You construct safe spaces where everything is scripted and risk-free, where no new thought is required, and doubt is the enemy. Just hilarious effed him up good. So what did Burr do next? He ran to The View of all places. March 20, Burr finds his last safe target. Nerds.
But is there anybody getting your ire up these days more than usual?
nerds.
Yeah.
The nerds that own the
tech
politician.
nerds.
All these tech nerds that want to build robots because they don't know how to talk to hot women. And I think Elon has got the rockets going because they realize there's other Earths out there.
Yeah.
And they're gonna trash this one, and because they don't have any concern for it, and they're gonna move on to the next Earth.
He still wants to sound edgy, but the only person he can safely attack now is Elon Musk. And sure, if you're extremely cynical, you could argue that the guy who popularized electric cars and launched reusable rockets is actually destroying the Mother Earth don't look up style. But even if it's a blatant lie, no streaming service is going to cancel your show for trashing Elon Musk. No white cis billionaire is going to crash your stand-up gig and Salman Rushdie you on stage, leaving your convulsing body with a throat slit open. That reminds me of Richard Dawkins. Edgy, until there is actual risk.
I'm not going to say about that.
Are you worried about, do you get threats because of the positions you've taken on some of these things?
Yeah.
Are you saying, no, you don't want to talk about it? Or...
Yes.
Right. I mean, that's interesting in itself. Because there are areas which you would prefer not to discuss.
Yes.
The old Bill Burr, the alive one, would have obliterated the View panel just for fun, but the husk of Bill Burr we have now is whining about God making humanity by mistake and taking cheap shots at billionaires.
We are God's mistakes. Like, why is he mad at us? God makes sociopaths, files, and all of that, and then we all have to deal with it, and then it creates crazy people who do other bad things, and then somehow it's our fault.
And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, he goes to Jimmy Fallon and repeats the same laminated face punchline.
Why does Elon Musk dress like he just got out of a Hot Topic? Just, I am so sick of that guy trying to rewrite his origin story like he was Matthew McConaughey pulling into the high school. It's like you were a nerd, nobody banged you, and now you have hair plugs in your laminated face.
At this point it's clear the Elon Musk rant wasn't just bad, it was deliberately bad. A test, a friend or foe identification system. The guy is dunking on someone I hate, so I like him filter. And he's so desperate, he has to say out loud that he's doing something bold.
No, and everybody is afraid of these nerds. I don't get it. They're horrible, heartless people. And then for some reason, if you say that, you're like a communist and then we're in bed with the Russians. I don't get any of it. None of it makes sense.
Bill, you're not mocking Islamic fundamentalists. You're not satirizing dictators with fragile egos. You'll be just fine. Mr. Burr, did you forget, Mr. Burr, that the price of cocooning yourself in comfort is Self-inflicted artistic castration. There was a time when you were ready to sting with unfiltered words, but now you tread carefully, don't you, Mr. Burr? How does it feel to weigh your each word before uttering it? There is no fate crueler than being cancelled by the audience you bet on, the only audience you will have from now on. And so you become predictable. Your topics, your angles, even your vocabulary is now preordained by the requirements of your cult-like echo chamber. Don't fear dropping dead, Mr. Burr. In a sense, you are already not alive. This is where I leave you, Mr. Burr.